Welcome everyone on this Thursday. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're calling in from. We've had some international folks on some calls, so you never know. My name is Lindsay Rothfeld, and I am a member of Docusign's community team. And a big part of the Docusign community is finding different ways to get our customers together and connect them with experts on the Docusign team to do exactly what, Catherine, you were hoping to get your questions answered, to provide support. And we test out a bunch of different formats for these events. And this event is a part of a series called our monthly roundup. I believe this is our second one. And essentially, we are looking at frequently asked questions in the community or just generally from customers around a certain topic. And we have a member of our Docusign University team here to lead us through that. He did a lot of work looking through questions and either solutions that were proposed already or ways that he's seen these questions be addressed. And so he's going to take us through that. And that person is Glenn, and we're very, very lucky to have him. So I will hand it over to him to introduce the topic and how this will work. And then you'll hear from me again at the end, where I will let you know about some other upcoming events and whatnot. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Glenn.
All right. Well, cool. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you for the nice intro too. Hey, everybody. Welcome. My name is Glen Steinhardt. As she said, I'm a technical product trainer here with Docusign University. And like she said, this is just our second monthly roundup event. We're trying to find out ways that we can try to get some questions answered. We're trying to develop training that is the training that you want. So before I even begin, I want to let you know right after this session is over, as soon as you close that webinar, it's going to pop up a little window asking you to complete a little survey. We really are hoping to get as much feedback as we can. We want to know what you like, what you don't like, what we can change, whatever works, because we want to keep evolving with what you want for your training needs. We don't want to, we have a lot of people who work on these, and we don't want to spend our time and waste your time developing training that doesn't make sense for you. So please, if you can, just take a couple of minutes to fill that out. It's really going to help us out, and hopefully in the long run, help you out as well. All right. So yeah, as she said, we're going to work on a particular topic. I went through a number of questions that were presented to me from the community, that were asked in the community. And I saw kind of a theme around a number of them regarding e-signature templates. And I thought that'd be a pretty good topic to go with. So all the questions that I've got here are related in a way to e-signature templates. So that's going to be my focus. That being said, I'm happy to abandon it all if you have some questions of your own. If you look on the Zoom toolbar, there is a little Q&A button. At least mine was buried under that More button. So if you don't see it right away, you may find it under there. Click in there, click in the Q&A, ask a question. Other folks will be able to see that question in there, and they could vote it up. And if they think it's a very good question, the cream rises to the top. We'll go ahead and try to tackle that one first. We'll prioritize it that way, but not required. If you want to just listen, I've got a whole bunch of great stuff that I get to show you. I'm very excited to show you. It's all related to questions coming again from the community, and also ones that I hear. I deliver trainings all the time on eSignature and CLM and IAM, all of our products, Maestro, and some of the common ones that I get, I've baked into this as well. All right. Now, we are going to be recording this session. We'll be providing that slide deck and the recording on our on-demand page for you. I'm going to provide that to you, a whole wealth of links throughout this session, but also in an email at the end. But if you want it now, I'll be kind of knocking them into the chat just like I did there. That is a link to our on-demand session. After this recording is completed, you'll find it on there, as well as all of our other previous events. I do also want to say before we get started that, Docusign has a number of different plan types, and what you're going to see in my account, you may not have in your account. I don't know. But if there are some features that I'm going to be talking about that you want a little more information on, please reach out to your Docusign administrator or your account executive here at Docusign. We'll be more than happy to show you what we can do to enable certain features. All right. Now, one last thing before I get started, I promise. I know this is a question and answer type thing, and I'm really hoping for some questions from you in the chat and in the Q&A, but I want to ask you a couple of questions first before we get started. The first question is, as Lindsay said, I'm from Docusign University. I want to know, anybody here, if you look on the screen, you'll see a little React button or React tab. If you click on that, within there, you'll see a green check mark or a red X. Give me a green check mark if you've heard of Docusign University. I'm just curious. This is from my own knowledge. Lindsay had no idea that I was doing this, but I really want to see how many people. Okay, it looks like about a little more than half. That's good. All right, awesome. Great. Let me go ahead and clear those out. And of the folks who have heard of Docusign University, how many of you folks have taken a class or watched a webinar with Docusign University? One more time with those green check marks. Okay, a smattering. It's growing. Okay, not too bad. Excellent. Okay, well, the reason why I bring this up, as I said, I'm with Docusign University, so it's near and dear to my heart. But every single thing that I'm going to cover today, we have a related video about, or a webinar about, or a live session, or a deep dive class. We have so much content that you can learn about for some of the topics that you may be struggling with. So I'm going to provide you with a bunch of links throughout today's session, but again, also in an email at the end of today's session. Okay. All right. Enough chatter. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let me clean out some of this, these green check marks here. Hold on a second. All right. First question. How can I create a template for 7 signatories where only one of them has to sign? Now, as I said, I want some interaction here. Okay. Oh, look at that. Tammy jumped right in. Signing group. All right. So very, very good. That is the answer. Let me go ahead and show you here. That's exactly what we need to do. Hey, Lindsay, Tammy's gunning for my job, so don't invite her to the next one, okay? All right, so let's go. That's exactly right. A signing group. That's the way to do it. Let me go ahead and provide you with a couple of links, just like I promised. I'm going to put 2 links in the chat. There we go. First link is a class with Docusign University where we talk about managing users and managing groups. It's a deep dive class where we get to interact. It's in person. We also have it recorded. Great class where we cover this very topic, among others. That second link is a support article where if you want to learn specifically about signing groups and to read about it, you can do it there. But I'm going to show it to you in this session right now. The use case for a signing group is this. If you need to send a document to a team of people, not just one person, but a team of people who all have like the same sort of approval level or approval status, but you only need one of them to sign, you'll create a signing group and include that person in the signing group. When you create a signing group and you send an envelope to that group, all of the group members are going to receive a notification at the same time, just like an email blast. Boom, here, I need something signed. Any of those members can go ahead and click on that review document button in their email, just like you may be used to. And when one person goes in, it sort of locks it from the other folks who are included in that because somebody is actioning that. That person will go in, they'll complete the signing. Once that signing is complete, then everybody who is involved is also going to receive a second notification saying that the document's completed. It's a fantastic way when, for example, if you have a document that needs to be signed by a lawyer on your team, you have 5 lawyers, it doesn't matter to you which lawyer signs it. I just need somebody to sign it so I can get that out to my customer and make some money. Well, this is a perfect example for that, a signing group. So let me show you how that works. Bear with me a second. Let me go ahead and log back in. Sorry, folks.
It's a fun way to find out who the nosy Nelly on the team is because they're the first one to look at it and then they close it, not realizing it will then be forever assigned to them.
That's clever. That's true.
They stop real fast.
Yeah. All right, I'm just logging in here. Sorry about this. It must have logged me out while we were waiting. Bear with me. All right, there we go. So I'm going to go in. I'm an administrator for Docusign eSignature. I'm going to go in and create this signing group. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to click on admin at the top. Now, you do have to be an administrator to get access to this, or at least have delegated permissions to do so. If you are logged into your eSignature, you don't see admin, you'll want to contact the person who is an administrator to give you that elevated form of access. They'll need to update your permission profile to include that with a delegated permission. But I happen to be an admin, so I'm going to do it myself. On the left-hand side, if you look, we've got a collection of user and groups here, one of which is called a signing group. I'm going to go ahead and click Add Signing Group. And I'll give this a name of my, I work for a company called Allura, my Allura legal team. Now, this works similarly to something you may already have set up at your office, like what's called a distribution list, like an email list, right? You probably have your own domain name, legal@yourdomain.com or whatever. Well, we can also deliver this notification to all of those people by using an alternate email address and send that information to them as well. Thing is, though, just so you know, this is more just to notify them that we're looking for a signature. You have to actually be included as a user in this signing group for them to actually action this document, to go in and sign it, okay? This is more just as an FYI. I'm just going to uncheck that and click Save to get that legal team signing group added in there, and then I'll click on Actions and assign some users. It's going to bring up a listing of all bunch of users in my account. I'm a huge tennis nut, so you're always going to see some tennis folks in here in my account if you ever take any of my training. So if you're a tennis nut, take my training because I will talk your ear off about it. Let me go ahead and put a whole bunch of people in there and then click Assign. All right, so now I've got a signing group called Allura Legal Team with a whole bunch of users added to that. Let's go in and send an envelope out. Sorry, folks, I'm having some connectivity issues, it looks like here. Bear with me.
And the signing users, you can enter using an email address too. They don't have to have an account established.
You can send it to them for an email via an email address, yes. In order for them to go in and sign here, I'll show this to you. Let me show you exactly what it looks like. Hold on one sec. I'm just struggling here because I'm having some connectivity problems. Let me just go into my templates. Okay, here, I'll show you here. Here's my template that I have this. Let me just go ahead and use that template and add the signing group. When you add a signing group, let's go ahead and include that signing group in here. Now, if I want to send it out to just a regular person or an email address, I'll put in, person in there, and I'll put in their email address down here to deliver it for them to go in and sign it. However, I have a signing group. So as soon as I start typing in Allura, you're going to see that it's going to show me a listing of all of my different recipients that I can send to, but one of them looks a little bit different. One of them is indicated as a signing group. By clicking on that, it's going to change what this recipient looks like here and allow me to hover over and see all of the people that are included as members of this signing group. Okay. Let's go ahead and deliver that out. I just want to take a look at something there. And I'll click Send. Oh, I have to put another person in there. Let's go ahead and send it to our customer. And send that. There we go. All right, so I just delivered this message to a whole bunch of people. They're the first person in my signing order, that entire signing group. So if I were to go in and check my email, and we'll kind of have to play a little make-believe here that we're 5 different people, one person, Alex, went in and he got an email to review the document. Another person has an email, Cam, to go and review the document himself. Again and again, every single person in here received an email to go and action this. Now, I'm going to go in. Let me just copy Carlos's email here. Hold on one second. There we go. I'll go in as Caroline, and I'm going to go in and review that document. Give it a moment. And it's going to pop up just as how you'd expect, right? An envelope opens up, it's going to ask me to agree to the legal disclosure and continue. But I want to pause for a second because I want you to see what it's going to look like if somebody else were to try to go in as well. So I'm going to go and log in as another user. Oops. Well, let's do it like this. I'll go in as Casper. Casper is going to go in and review that document. When he goes to review the document, because somebody else already went in to try to action that, it's going to say signing for this document by this group is in progress. Caroline is already in there. Just like she said, it indicates who that person is who jumped in and then maybe kind of bailed last minute. So now we can go in and sign that document as Caroline, and then we'll click finish. As soon as I click finish, let's go ahead and close this up. As expected, a whole bunch of email. Well, the second email is going to be sent out to Carl Customer for him to sign. Let's go ahead and have Carl sign that. We'll have Carl sign. And then finish. And now everybody who is involved in this signing order is going to receive a notification indicating that the document has been completed. So if I take a look here and refresh my email, we could see Cam received an email saying the document has been completed. Caroline, of course, she went in, Casper, so on and so on. So it informs everybody that the document has been completed. They are not having this hang over their head anymore because they could see the completion email come through and they know that they don't have to kind of worry about that anymore. Now, in order for, we had a question as far as, I want to bring up the support article on this topic. In order for a signing group to, I just want to show it to you here. There we go. In order to include people to sign that, they do have to be a user because you can't add a user in a signing group. Let me rephrase. You can't add a person into a signing group unless they have a user in there. Because you saw when I went in and added the users in the signing group, I selected from users who were eSignature users in the system. You could deliver it to somebody else as an additional recipient if you want to, but to be part of a signing group, they do have to have a user account in the system to action that. All right. Let's go ahead and bring up my slide deck here. Any questions about signing groups? Any further questions? Any general questions before we continue? All right, let's keep going. Question 2, we work. Oh yeah, Kina, go ahead.
Okay, so I have set up quite a few signing groups, but I don't think I've ever had it happen where two people or multiple people in that signing group opened it at the same time. So I know you just had it open just now with Caroline, and then you had somebody else try to get into it. But so I know that email or he got that message. But as Caroline closed it with that second person, so like Caroline just opened it, but she didn't sign it. Would that second person now be able to go in and sign?
Yeah, that connection to the document will have been severed. So that means somebody else will be able to go in and action it. So the system will recognize that Caroline no longer has access to that document or is not logged in at that time to perform that. Then another person can go in and take over.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Sure. All right. Question 2. Let me just turn that off there. We work with a document that can be of varying lengths, but the 2 signature pages at the end are always going to be the same. Is there some way to bind the signatures to these last 2 pages in the last 2 pages in a template? Anybody want to take a guess? Tammy? Anchor tag. Yeah, location play. Yeah. Oh, Tammy, I got my eye on you. All right, she's exactly right. There's a feature that we have in eSignature called autoplace. I love autoplace. This is one of my favorite features in eSignature. I love talking about it. Let me give you some great info on it. First, this is going to be a support article, again, on that, so you can kind of read about it and learn how to set it up. But I would prefer it if you came to another one of my webinars or one of my colleagues' webinars. Eliminate Manual Tasks is the name of it. It's a free webinar that you can get over at Docusign University. There's a direct link. Click that link. It takes you right to the registration page. Find a date and time that best suits your schedule, and you're registered. Simple as that. So I'd love to see you and get some more opportunities to help answer questions and stuff. All right, so autoplace, the way this works, this is a really popular use case that we're talking about here, where we want to bind it to a particular signature field. Another use case might be if you have like an initials field and you want to have the system everywhere it sees the word initials, we want to stick a field on that word initials. So no matter if you change the document out and add a new document and it has initials areas, we want to have the system automatically place initial fields in that very spot. It's a great way to make your fields smarter, right? So no matter what document you're using, it's going to put those fields in the right spot so you don't have to manually do it yourself. All right. So let's take a look at using autoplace. Let me go ahead and let me show you first the way this is set up. Sorry about that. There. Go into my templates. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at my autoplace template that I have set up. Now, I'm going to open this up. This template has two parties in it. I'm going to edit this template just so we can take a little bit of a closer look and see what that's like. We've got our document added. If I open up that document, we could see it's a single page document. And we see that there's a signature area, name and email for both the disclosing and the receiving party. I've got a disclosing party. I've got a receiving party. I've got my email subject already populated. Let me go ahead and click next. If I look on the add field screen, and if I scroll down, we can see that I have a number of fields already added to this. So this is a perfect template. The recipients look good. The messaging looks good right now. The fields look good. The document looks fine. However, I want to use this template, but I made some modifications to the document. I want to use all of the other components of this template, but I want to upload a different document. And when I upload that document, I want to make sure that the fields land where they're supposed to land. So let me show you what I've got here. I'm going to close this up. Bear with me here. Oops, you all disappeared. There you are. Okay, let me find here. So now I have a different document. Let me show you what it looks like before I upload it. All right. So I want to use that same template, but I've got a new NDA that I want to replace. And if I look at this document, we can clearly see that this is a 3-page document. I still have the same disclosing party and receiving party, and I still have the signature name and email stuff, but it's on page 2 now. It's not on page 3. Now, normally what one would do if they want to utilize a template, but with a different document, is they would apply the template instead of using a template. So what I mean by that is when I use a template, I go to templates. This is how it generally goes. I click on use, and then I go populate the information and click send, and I'm done. That's generally how people use templates, but I want to apply a template. Instead, what I'm going to do is start an envelope, and I'm going to add my document to this envelope, this 3-page document to the envelope. When I do that, I then want to, instead of building out these recipients and changing the messaging and all that kind of stuff, I want to apply the template to this document. All those other components, I want to layer it right on top of this document that I just uploaded. And you do that by clicking on the ellipses right here and clicking on the apply templates option. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to locate the template that I want to apply, and I'll click on apply selected. And as you can see, the template was applied. We could see one template was applied. It added my recipient roles in there. It added the delivery method, the recipient types. It added my messaging in there. Oh, I have to put in an email. Let me just throw something in there just to get to the next screen. If I look at this document, we can see it's a 3-page document now. And if I scroll down, those fields are still on page 1. That doesn't really help me out. I need to fix this. I want these fields, when I upload a document and apply this template, I want them to appear on page 2 where they're supposed to appear, or page 3 or page 30, wherever it is. I want them to appear in a specific spot, regardless of the document. So that's where autoplace comes into play. Let me show you how this works. I'm going to close this up and let me modify my template. I'm going to open up this template and edit it. Get to my add field screen, and I want to make these fields smarter. I want them to move when they're supposed to move and where they're supposed to move. When I select on a field, that's not supposed to happen. Hold on a second. Sorry, folks. Bear with me. Into that template. I'm going to edit that template. Click next. Get to my fields. Fingers crossed, I select on the field. Okay, we're good. Let's keep going. I want to make this field a little smarter now. So with that field selected, anytime you select on the field, you can look on the right-hand side and see the properties for that specific field. I'm going to select on the sign. And on the right-hand side, I have properties for it. One of those properties is called location. So I'm going to click on location. You can see there's an option in here for auto place. That's precisely what I want to do. I want to automatically place this field in the spot that I design. So I'm going to click on setup, and the system's going to ask me, place a copy of this field near every instance of what? Well, if I type in the word signature and click apply, the system's looking for everywhere that the word signature appears, and it's going to place a field right on top of that. That's pretty good, but that doesn't really help me. I need to be a little more specific where I want this field to land. So I'm just going to delete those. Let me add a new signature field in here. Select it, and I'm going to press setup for the auto place. And instead, I'm going to choose an area on my document with text that only appears in one spot. So only one field is created. I'm going to do disclosing party and then parentheses right there. Oh, not parentheses, excuse me, colon right there. When I click apply, the system sees that there's one area on the document with that specific text. So it's going to take that field and place it right there. Pretty good, but not exactly what I'm looking for yet, right? I still need to make a little bit of tweaks. Well, what we just did, and this is exactly what Tammy was saying, location placement with anchor text, right? What we just did was we added this field and anchored that field right here. Now, what I'm going to do, if you look really closely over here, you can see the location is 70 pixels from the left and 496 pixels from the top. But when I move it and let go, now it's in a new area. What it did was it's using auto place. It's going to find disclosing party, and then it's going to move it exactly the number of pixels down and to the right where this field is supposed to live. Okay. So now I want to do that with all of these fields here. I'm going to select on that. I'll click on setup, and let's do that once again. Disclosing party, colon, and click apply. And then I'm going to drag and drop that right here. The system is going to say, okay, with this particular field, drop it here and then move it here. Let's do it one more time with email. I'll click setup. Let's do disclosing party, colon. I'll click apply. It's going to put that one field right here. And now When it auto places, it's going to find disclosing party and then move it exactly this number of pixels down and to the right. And this is exactly where it's going to land. So let's see how this works. I'm going to save this. I'm going to keep these as less smart fields. Okay. But I'll keep these as the smart fields, the auto placed fields, so we can see what it looks like when I replace this document with a document where all of this signature text is moved. I'm going to save and close this document, this template, pardon me. Now, if I go home, oops, I'll create an envelope. Actually, let me just drag and drop the document in there just to make it a little faster. And I'll do just like I did before. I'm going to apply that same template. I'll click Apply Templates. I'm going to find that template that I just modified and apply it. Let me just put in some info in here. Click on Next. And now let's see what happens. If I scroll down, we can see, look how those fields did not move. They're still on page 1. Those fields that I made smarter via autoplace have moved. They're moved exactly where disclosing party is, and then down and to the right a little bit where I defined it. If I scroll down further on page 2, that's exactly where they are. So now I can use this template, upload any document, whether it's on the signature fields or on page 2, 3, 4, 20, 30, and we're going to move those fields exactly where they need to live. This is an enormous time save. So you don't have to go in and create, NDA template 1-pager, NDA template 2-pager, 3-pager, 4-pager, and because of fields, just have the system move the fields for you. You can have one template to do all of that. All right. Any questions about autoplace? You guys are quiet. Okay, we'll keep going. All right, Tammy, you're up to bat here. I want to make my templates and use them so when documents are signed, the document goes right up back to Google Drive. I'm going to give Tammy a couple seconds to chime in. No pressure, though. Oh, shoot, she got it right. She's exactly right. Agreement actions. That's one of the ways to do it, though. There's actually 2 ways to do it. I'm excited to show you the second way, too, because it's relatively new compared to agreement actions, which agreement actions is near and dear to my heart. I love agreement actions. The reason why I love this question is, yeah, you got it, Tammy. That's right, Maestro. I'll show you that in just a bit. A lot of people who come into my training classes and my colleagues' training classes, they want to know how they can make their agreement process more efficient, right? They want to create the document, they want to execute the document and get it completed and get it signed. And their focus is on how to make that as efficient as they can. And that's perfect. I mean, that's what we do best. That's what Docusign does best. But so rarely do I get questions about what they can do after the document gets signed, when it comes back as completed. I know when I get a document that comes back as completed, I go through all these steps, right? Like this person here who asked this question. I'll go into my Gmail account. I'll find this completed document. I'll click on this completed document and then download this completed document and save it to, I'm not going to do it because I'm getting some issues here, but I'm going to download this completed document and save it on my local machine. Maybe I want to bring it over to my Google Drive, like this person who asked the question. So I'll drag it and drop it over to my Google Drive, but maybe I want to rename the document first because it just makes sense. So it's easier to find when I go to Google Drive. Maybe what I do is I go, after I get this notification, I go into my sent items and I'll download the form data of this. And when I get this form data, I copy it and download it as a CSV and paste it in a new CSV file. Maybe as soon as I get this completed, this is the last one, I promise. When I get this completed document that comes in, maybe that triggers me to say, oh, good, we finally got that order form in. Let me go ahead and send out the contract to them now, or the purchase order, whatever it might be. So you manually go in and kick off another envelope that goes out. Every single thing that I just said can be automated. And all of those things take so much time that so many people, I guess, kind of forget about or don't really focus on when it takes time out of your day. So we can automate all of that with, as Tammy said, agreement actions and Maestro. So let me show you how we can do that. Now, agreement actions is fantastic. Like I said, it's one of my favorite features in eSignature. This allows you to create an if-then rule to determine some kind of action for when an envelope comes back as completed. You create an if-then rule based on all kinds of different things, maybe a custom field on a document, if a value matches something in particular, a particular template, certain envelope data. There's all kinds of different things, which I'll show you in just a bit. So let me, I want to provide you with a link to agreement actions, and I urge you to read that and learn about it. It's not turned on by default in your accounts. I'll give you a heads up. This is an additional feature to turn on, but I want you to think about, like, sit down for a minute and just write down all of the things that you do once that email comes in showing that the document's completed. And think about all the stuff that you do and how much time it takes, because it can virtually be eradicated by doing some automation with agreement actions in Maestro. Oops, okay. There we go. Now, with Maestro, and I'm going to show you a little bit about Maestro just because we don't have too much time to talk about it. It's such an amazing platform, service on a platform. I'll talk about that in a bit. When you log into Docusign, you're actually logging into the IAM platform. And IAM, if you folks have heard of IAM, I'm sure you have by now, that includes a number of different services like Docusign Maestro. And that's a service that helps you build out a custom agreement workflow with all these automated tasks that you can add to save you time. And I'll talk about that in just a bit. But one of those services is our App Center, which you can find additional services like Google Drive or a number of other different products that you're already using at your office to connect to your workflow. So you could build out this beautiful visual workflow of your entire agreement process right there without having any coding knowledge at all. It's fantastic. So I'll show you a little bit about that, but first let me go ahead and talk about agreement actions. I'm going to go up to admin. Once you have agreement actions turned on, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to edit these little hiccups out.
Hey, we're only human and tech issues happen, so.
Yeah. Oh, this is frustrating. All right, let me try. Thank you everybody for your patience on this one. Let me log back in here. Excellent. Okay. Settings. So strange. Okay. So as an administrator, I'm in the admin section of my eSignature account. And once we have agreement actions turned on, we'll see two options in here. First, what we want to do is make a connection to a service that we want to include. So for example, I have my agreement actions connected to Google Drive and eSignature. Let me just show you what the other connected apps that we can use that come right out of the box with agreement actions. If you want to have a document come in that's been completed and then automatically get renamed and moved over to your Box.net account, you'll just click on that, sign up and put in your Box.net credentials, and then you're good to go. Any folks who are familiar with CLM, who use CLM here, actually quick green check mark here. I'm curious, does anybody who's on the call here, do you folks use CLM? Green check mark if you do. Oh, Kina, that's right. Yeah, Kina does. I know that. Okay, Marquetta. A couple of people using CLM. Awesome. Okay. Appreciate that. Just curious. Well, if you use CLM, imagine getting a document coming in that's been signed and completed, and then taking that document and pushing it directly into a workflow and kicking off a workflow over at CLM. So it's a great way to really kind of round out your entire agreement process from that moment on without you having to be involved at all, really, manually. If you get documents that come in and you want to kick off another envelope right away, you can connect it to your eSignature account and determine, based on certain criteria, if a completed document comes back, send out this document or send out that document via an envelope. Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, and so on. Lots of different services there. Let me show you how it works though. So once you make a connection, then you go in and you set up your rules. I'll go ahead and set one up. We'll create one right now. I'm going to click on add rule and I'll call it save to Google Drive.
Hey, Glenn, I just have a question. Were those apps the only partners you have for the automation? Or if we use a different document place, are we able to connect to it?
This is the only ones that are available for agreement actions specifically. But now with Maestro, with our IAM platform and the App Center, that opens up a whole new world of different applications. And I'm going to provide you with a link to that so you can learn a little more and see if the product that you're referring to is already included.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not, by the way, just let us know. We're always trying to open this up to new products that our customers are using. And I'm sure we can work to integrate that too.
Okay, but Mastro might be another avenue that we'd be able to utilize.
I think Maestro might be the way to go for you. I don't know the product. You haven't said the product,
Yeah, so
but perhaps. And I'll give you a link to the App Center where you can see if that product is included yet.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't seeing who was asking that question, but Jamie, I hope that answered your question if that wasn't you. Nautilus is not included by default for agreement actions, but it will be for Maestro, or maybe for Maestro, and I'll show you that in just a bit. So the conditions here that I've got, hold on one moment. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I need to set my conditions. Well, I'm going to make it such that if I get a completed document back where the document I sent out was using a particular template, in my case, we'll do my demo 3 purchase order one. So if I get a completed envelope back that was sent out using this template, then I want to do some stuff to it. So I'm going to go ahead and archive this, select the app, my Google Drive account, because that's the one I made that connection to. Right now it's connecting to my Google Drive account. It's saying, all right, I see your Google Drive account. Which one in particular here? This one here. Now I can take this further and customize this where I can make it, I can name this document or rename this document to something a little more specific. By hitting the plus sign here, I could say, well, put the document name .pdf and then save it. I can also include a particular folder path if I want to, just by typing it in there prior. So if I have a folder in there, which I do, called community, I can go ahead and do that like that. I'm not going to do that. I'll just keep it kind of simple for now, just for time's sake. And I'll click save. Okay, and there's my Google Drive. It's enabled. Let's go ahead and send an envelope out quickly because I really want to get to Maestro and show you what I can. There we go. Let's use a template. Send my purchase order. Let's go ahead and send that to myself. And then I will hit send. I'll go ahead and sign it right now. That was addressed to me, so that's why I'm seeing this pop up here saying to sign now. The system's smart enough to recognize that I'm that person, so it gives me the opportunity to bypass the whole going to my email and just signing it right away, but you probably may have seen that already. Elizabeth, to answer your question, where you can find that, if you don't have it on your admin page on the left-hand side, that means it hasn't been enabled for your account. As I mentioned, it's an additional feature. So you want to reach out to somebody here at Docusign about adding that feature to your account.
Thank you.
Sure. And let me just quickly complete some of this required stuff here. Sign it and then finish. and I don't know if I said this, but for the purpose of the recording, the question was asked, where do we find agreement actions on the admin page? And that's where I said, if you don't see it, it's not enabled for your account, and to reach out about that. Let me go ahead and.
Glenn, sorry, one more question on agreement actions. Is that a fee-based agreement actions? Is it like an extra charge to your contract, or is it just something that needs to be turned on?
Well, I believe it's an extra charge.
Okay.
I'm not the billing guy, so that's why I would have
Right.
to ask you to reach out to somebody else about that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sure. All right. So if I go into my Google Drive, we saw that contract or that document has been sent out. It's been completed, which means that the document should be showing up in here. Here's my purchase order .docx.pdf. Here it is right there that I signed just now at 4:16 p.m. Automatically done. I don't have to worry about it. I wish I had more time because I love to show you how we can also take all that form data and add a new line onto a Google spreadsheet automatically with all that data. So you can keep track of all the responses you're getting. You never have to log into Docusign to see the responses. All you have to do is keep a spreadsheet open that you're using with Google Sheets, and you could see in real time as you get those responses back. It's really, really cool stuff. All right, I'm gonna zip through this quickly because I really want to show you Maestro. So give me one sec. I think we only have time for let me go Gmail. This one more piece here. All right. This account, I had to log into a different account because I have our IAM this was built out with Maestro included. Once I log in on agreements, on the left-hand side, we'll see our Maestro workflows. I've already created this workflow, so I'm going to go just kind of show you the structure of it so you can have a fundamental understanding. Really, the benefit of this is it allows anybody to be able to view and compose their agreement process. It's no coding necessary. In the past, I don't know if you folks have ever had to deal with trying to do some complex integrations with other services. It's tough. It is not easy. You have to have a developer. You have to have some coding knowledge. With this, it's really just plug and play. It's so elegant. It's really well done. So let me go ahead and click into my workflow here, just so you can see the way this is structured. And I'm just going to zip through it quickly. Okay, so the way I have this built out is a user in DocuSign eSignature is going to fire off this workflow. That's one of a number of different ways that we can start this process going. We can have from a link from within Maestro. We have a CLM workflow kicking off this workflow. Once we do that, we're going to present a web form to an employee. That employee is going to populate some fields on that web form, and then they're going to get notified that what you've done is completed. Just a little confirmation screen saying, thank you, it's been done. We'll go ahead and send the NDA to the manager and collect some signatures from all of the participants involved. All of that is coming from the template that was used to send out this envelope. This is calling on that web form, which is built from a template. So it all kind of comes together here. What I like about Maestro is it's not really that heavy a lift. If you've been a longtime user of eSignature and you know web forms and you know templates and you know how to send envelopes and all this kind of stuff, this just adds another layer to kind of bring all of that stuff together to get your agreement process built out easily, visually. After we get those signatures collected, we can show a confirmation screen. And here's the fun part. Maestro is built out that when the envelope comes in as completed, we can recognize that it's completed. And if it is showing as completed, we'll go ahead and store the file in Google Drive. Now, this is one of many services that we can connect to. And this is what I was talking about with the question before. You can use another service on the IAM platform called our App Center. And I'm going to put a link in the chat here. This is a link to the App Center for our demo environment. Let me go ahead and load that. And here are a number of services that you can connect with Maestro. I love, I mean, Coupa, this is in beta. Every time I come here, there's like a new one that's popping up here. But imagine you use Salesforce, for example. That's your source of truth. Well, you can go ahead and kick off a workflow, pull in data from Salesforce to populate a form, send out that document with all of that data to the appropriate people. They'll go and sign it. It'll come back. It'll show as completed. Then we can take that information, update those Salesforce records to show that it's completed, and update any other particular records that you might have, whatever's relevant to you. Then we can take that document, copy it over, kick off maybe a CLM workflow, or save that document into our Google Drive. I mean, it just, IAM platform, this platform and the App Center services, it just opens up a whole new world. This is agreement actions, just like you saw, but so much more. So play around with this as you can. It's such a huge, it sounds like hyperbole, but it is revolutionary. It's some pretty cool stuff. It changes the way that we do things here. It's a whole new platform. And because it's a new platform, we can continue to build and add new products more easily than we were able to do it, like certain FinServe products, like was asked before. Okay, so have a look in there and let me know what you think. We've got
there again for the apps. I see service now. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, you got one. Oh, awesome. Okay, great.
Yep.
And I don't want to steal Lindsay's thunder, but we do have a new event coming up. I'll let her tell you the date of it. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. We've got a brand new webinar related to Maestro and an event on community where we'll have some fun stuff for you. So I'll let her explain that in more detail. Let me just do this. All right, we're coming up at the end here. So let me pull this up here. All right, as I said, I'm going to send everybody a follow-up email with a whole bunch of links to Docusign University. Let me go ahead and actually, I'm going to put all of these in the chat too, because there's a whole bunch, so forgive me for flooding the chat. But I'm going to provide all of these in a follow-up email in a couple of days. After this recording gets processed, I'll send you a link to the recording, as well as a link to our on-demand area of community, so you can watch this if you need to see it again and any previous ones that we had. But with that, I hope you learned something. I'll pass it back to Lindsay to kind of give us a little bit of a wrap up.
Thank you so much, Glenn, and kudos for dealing with tech issues.
Sorry, folks.
I've been there. I think everyone has been there. And thank you to everyone for asking a lot of questions and being so engaged. It makes these events so much more impactful. We want to provide the answers that to the questions that you have. If you can go to the next slide. I just wanted to point out, and I'm going to put again the links in the chat and we can share afterwards, but we have a bunch of different events in the community coming up. Here we go. Like Glenn said, we have the Get Started with Docusign Maestro webinar on the 19th. That will be followed up right after for 30 minutes, an open Q&A where we'll have a bunch of different experts there to answer questions. If you already are a Maestro customer, on the 5th, we're doing a feedback forum. So that's a time when you can provide feedback to people who are making the product. I think I saw a question about fins. We do have a fins industry group, and there's a virtual meetup on the 13th that happens, I think, every other month, and it's pretty active. So I suggest looking out for that. On March 3rd, we have another event with Glenn. And so he'll be talking about automatic template matching. And then I did also drop, there's an event for developers later in the month. We have a bunch of different events for developers. So tons of things happening. If you aren't already a member of the community, if you haven't logged into community, I suggest you do so that you get invites to all of these things. It's very easy to do. You just log in with your Docusign credentials. And if we go to the next slide, I did also want to mention that we have Momentum coming up in April, which is Docusign's customer conference. If you are located in New York City or around the area, this is completely free to attend. I know a bunch of people live all over the country, so it wouldn't be as free if you had to travel, but it's a really, really fun opportunity to meet other Docusign customers, members of the team. There's a keynote, breakouts, a whole expo hall. Like it's a whole fun 2-day extravaganza. So I dropped that link also in the chat as well to RSVP. And with that, I think we're ready to wrap up. Thank you everyone for attending, or if you're watching the recording, thank you for tuning in. And I think that's everything on my end. Is there anything else you wanted to add or plug, Glenn, before we say
Yeah,
goodbye?
just please don't forget to fill out that survey at the end. I know I mentioned it before, but it really is going to help us to make sure that we're delivering the right type of content. And also have a look at some of the classes and webinars over at Docusign University. I'll share some links with you for that in our follow-up email.
Great. Thanks so much. Have a great day, everyone.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you. This was great, Glenn. Thank you so much.
Great, sure.
Thanks.
You're welcome.